Welcome to the Mojo Mundi podcast, where it's all about magic, manifesting, and movement. I'm Ginny Watts, the Dancing Witch, and this episode is titled Allowing Magic to Flow. I love books. I love magic. I love books about magic. I also love movies and movies about magic. Reading stories and watching movies about magic have helped me to imagine and envision energy, intention, and emotion in the context of magic and manifesting. When I was young, I consumed the books and movies without any delicacy other than whether or not I liked the content. As I have deepened in my own practice, while I still enjoy magical books and movies, I have developed a discriminating eye. I can see the beauty of some analogies and depictions, as well as the ways that popular cultural resources have hindered us in realizing the true process of manifesting and magic. Perhaps the most unfortunate belief inherent in the magical model we have absorbed and perpetuated is the definition of magic as being instantaneous. Maybe there's a reason that in the Harry Potter series, the villainous Severus Snape was relegated to Potions Master, or that Professor Sprout was a minor character. Herbology and potions are studies of understanding and harmonizing with the energetic qualities of plants, stones, and so on. It takes time and a willingness to let the plant reach maturity or the potion to stew. The lion's share of magic performed by the major characters in the HP series is done with a swish and a flick and voila, an abrupt change occurs. Think of Samantha and Tabitha in Bewitched, or Jeannie in I Dream of Jeannie. One twitch of the nose, one nod and blink, and things appear, disappear, transform, transport. You name it, it happens instantaneously. In the Bible, the Lord took 6 days to create heaven and earth. While not instantaneous, it was creating everything in 6 days. For many of us, perhaps most of us, magic means instantaneous. The unfolding of a flower, the shape of a landscape, the birth of a child isn't seen as miraculous, as magic. We may understand intellectually the wonder of the world, but we don't actually let that inform our core view of magic. Why do I say that with such certainty? Because of all the struggles I have observed and experienced in regard to manifesting. We want the magic wand, the magic genie. The idea that we might need to wait for the universe to shift and change to co-create our desire is just unmagical. The other disservice rendered by many popular versions of magic is the depiction of magic as bursting forth in bizarre and impossible ways. Magic is making something appear from nothing, or making something suddenly be something else. Subtlety is not a quality of magic because it isn't dramatic enough. Writers may acknowledge subtler forms of magic, but drama gets the big play and the spotlight. Magic isn't magic if it appears to be a natural outcome of our environment. I have lost count of the conversations I've had with myself and so many other seekers who deny a manifestation because it took time and grew naturally out of the workings of the world around us. We resist accepting that magic is a part of our world as much as many religious leaders resist accepting our physical world as spiritual. We erroneously define magic as breaking the laws of the physical world. Actually, magic and manifesting and miracles are absolutely part of our physical world. We just don't understand enough of our universe to see how that could be. The damage of this erroneous paradigm lies in the way our beliefs that magic is instantaneous and defiant impair our ability to see the subtle beauty of most magic and manifesting. It is true that there is some, perhaps a fair amount of magic and manifesting that is instantaneous and/or inexplicable. Often, however, that is not the case. When it isn't, we balk at the idea that whatever happened is a part of our co-creating process. It can't be miraculous. It doesn't count as co-creating, as manifesting, as magic. When manifesting only counts if it's immediate and unbelievable, we not only miss a lot of magic, we also set ourselves up for failure. And we mislead ourselves into thinking that God has failed us as well. Having a timeline that is formed without any concept of what may need to transpire within ourselves and our physical world presents an obvious problem. Our job is not to worry about the how. That's where deity comes in. Being in physical form removes us from the perspective of the overall view. Yet, we still develop an expectancy of when our co-creation should happen. If it doesn't appear when we think it ought, we become despondent, disappointed, doubting. Out of our own lack of awareness and perspective, out of our misleading paradigm of what magic, manifesting, miracles ought to be, we introduce the most destructive interference possible. The peaks and valleys of doubt and disappointment effectually cancel the vibrations that fuel magic and manifesting. When we take the courageous step of embracing our role as co-creators, and then apply a timeline, we are acting in opposition to what I call inspired unfolding. Unfolding is a process, not a product. Allowing for the remarkable design of our co-creation to assemble into reality in its own perfect timing is as satisfying and awe-inspiring as the assembled outcome itself. We miss the spiritual part of the practice when we ignore how incredibly remarkable the process is. We send our prayers, intentions, visions out to deity. We do that. Not a singularity, but a cacophonous symphony of creative ideas, wants, needs from every single thing, animate or inanimate, in the universe. It is as if we have tossed a million, billion, gazillion new threads to Creator as she is in the midst of weaving an infinite tapestry. I picture her smiling exuberantly as she catches every strand and deftly plaits each into creation. For her, it is a moment. For us, it may seem much longer. When we manifest, we are bringing potential into physical form. The physical world is earth energy, and earth tends to move at a very slow pace. When earth moves and changes quickly, it is cataclysmic. Think earthquake, landslide, volcanic eruption. It happens, and it is an important part of co-creating. It isn't common, though, because it is cataclysmic. When we are in physical form, despite what our phones and TVs and movies and video games and social media and supervisors and parents preach, faster is not better. Physical forms adjust slowly, or things get torn and broken. We may also gain greater understanding of the gift of inspired unfolding when we refer back to the part we play in co-creating. While the Tao is expanding the macro weave of the universe to incorporate each and every new co-created element, our job is to be present and allow a realigning within us to blend with what we are co-creating. In order to receive what we are intending, we must adjust our vibration from the hum of wanting and expecting to the song of receiving. If we aren't able to find or reach or cultivate that coherent vibration, we will alter the weave into something that is at best an approximation of our vision, and at worst is something antithetical to our prayer. This distortion happens not because we are undeserving or because we are failures. It happens because that is a universal law. We attract, that is, co-create, what is in harmony with our present vibration. Joy co-creates joy. Peace co-creates peace. Abundance attracts more abundance. Disillusionment attracts more disillusionment. Having time to recalibrate our vibration allows us to be more successful in our part of the manifesting. If we view the outcome of co-creation from the swish-and-flick paradigm, we will be stuck repeating our mistakes. If we are open to recognizing our less than successful weaves as feedback, we can adjust our vibrations with each manifestation, allowing for our co-creating to unfold in its proper timing until we begin to develop the confidence and know-how to go from humming to celestial harmony. Moving from swish and flick to inspired unfolding requires a paradigm segue. Much as we may be tempted to take the fast track here, we want our move into the new paradigm to be smooth and doable, so it will stick, so our brains won't rebel and our will won't waver. The paradigm segue is another example of inspired unfolding. First, we don't have to dump everything from our old worldview. If we allow ourselves time to sort through the particulars of the old paradigm, we have the opportunity to discover what is harmonious and practicable and what is unhelpful and obstructive. We can then begin to release what no longer serves and draw in what will serve us better. For example, the idea of the swish and flick is that it is a process we can learn and one that is simple, ease-filled. These two ideas, that co-creating is accessible and happens without efforting are important. The idea that action on our part is our part of co-creating is also true. When we embrace the vibe of the swish and flick while adjusting our concepts of the what and how of our actions, we are in the flow of the paradigm segue. We recognize that the nose twitch or the blink and nod reflects the idiosyncratic nature of co-creating. We open to discovering what our unique path from hum to harmony entails within each co-creation. We can extract the metaphors for ease, accessibility, and individuality from the pattern of the swish and flick and voila. We release the need for immediate gratification and total control of the outcome to open to the remarkable, elaborating dance of creator, creation, and us. If I'm not swishing and flicking, then what am I doing, you may ask? The inspiration part of inspired unfolding refers to the innumerable invitations to action that occur as the co-creation progresses. Often, we don't recognize we are being inspired. Thoughts arise that catch our attention, people appear and move us forward in some way, challenges surface that strengthen some characteristic within us or lead us to release something that is unhelpful. It is frequently only in hindsight that we see the fibers of these events spinning into the thread of our co-creation. Sometimes we are lucky enough to recognize the beauty of being inspired in the moment, in the now. For me, it is a breathless shiver of wonder that alerts me to the inspiration. In my interview with Dina Elist, dancer and spiritual seeker and friend, Dina shares an experience of inspired unfolding on her spiritual path and her method for awakening to the presence of magic all around her. You know, as you're speaking, I was thinking back to your saying that you reached a point where you looked at your dance and realized it wasn't what it had been. I just wondered, what did it feel like to discover that, or how did you find your way to that awareness? And then what do you do with that? Now here's this thing that was this wonderful, that was my vacation, and now it kind of feels like
work.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize it because I think I had kind of been on a path. It's this teeter-totter analogy. I've been on a path where this is my release and this is my restriction. Mm-hmm. And even when my release wasn't really my release anymore, I didn't fully acknowledge it because in my brain it was still my release. So it took me quite a while to realize that. What really helped me break out of it was doing a different dance form. The belly dance that I've done for years has specific moves. It has a specific posture. And then the freedom in it is after you learn these specific moves and posture, then you create a dance that's improvisational based on the music that you're listening to. So in some ways, it's that kind of mix of structure and non-structure in and of itself. But it took me going to a different dance form to doing this Ishtara dance, which was really about just putting music on and just letting your body move and letting your emotions dictate how you move. When I did that for a while and started really kind of re-engaging with I'm moving because it feels good to move this way, that then I could go back and put that back into my structured dance form. One of the things, so the dance form is improvisational. When we get together for events, a lot of times we'll get a group together. It's like a group of teachers, and maybe we know each other and maybe we don't. We're coming from all over. And I went to an event like this, and I don't usually volunteer to be in those groups because it would give me anxiety because I didn't know how those people danced and, what if I'm not good enough and all of that. And so kind of in the middle of this journey, I went to one of those events and I joined that group, which was a big step for me in the first place to say, yes, I'd like to participate. And then rather than putting this pressure on myself to do well and be a good dancer and be easy to follow and follow well, I was just I'm just having fun with this. I'm just going to go up there and I'll do my best. And sure, I'd like it to look good. But I'm here to interact with these other people. We have this thing in common. And I just want to feel joy with them. And that was the most fun I'd ever had dancing, period. And there is this theory that if we all follow the same rules, then we can do it together and it looks beautiful. But when we get too caught up in that, we lose the whole point of it, which is the joy that it releases in our body and in our brain and just in our being. Like at a certain point, it was important to me to, one of my realizations when I get excited and overcommit is, I love dance. And then just in the last year, I'm like, not all dance is equal. I do love dance, but these parts of dance, yes. These parts of dance, no. Just because it says dance doesn't mean yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true in everything in life. And the idea of just seeing, trying things and doing things and seeing how it feels for you. Does it bring you joy? Or, have you gotten to the point where this thing that used to bring you joy now feels like work? Just kind of staying aware of that and honoring that. Not getting caught up. Again, I have one of those personalities that kind of sees a path and I like the next logical step. But sometimes the next logical step is not going to make me happy. So the idea of just being aware of that and then honoring that I'm happy here, and maybe I even want to go back a few steps, or maybe I want to go to the right or the left, but maybe that next step forward, as much as everybody's telling me that's the next logical step, maybe that's not the right one for me. So we kind of talked about magic before. And, for me, magic is what we're surrounded by every day. For us living in Bozeman, it's absolutely beautiful here, right? But there's magic in the mountains. There's magic in the trees. There's magic in the way the air smells. And I think that's true of most places. Not that all places have trees and mountains, right. But the idea that if you kind of just take a pause and look at what is, especially if, what nature is providing us, that for me is magic. And you create the magic by just taking a moment to acknowledge it and appreciate it. And so the magic is available to us all the time. The question is, are we creating the space to recognize it and bring it into our lives? Now, I try to find magic in every day, and I actively seek it. It could be a conversation like this. It could be walking my dog and watching him smile as he runs around. It could be so many different things. Yeah. And I feel like if we would just allow ourselves to stay in the present and enjoy the present, we would all have a lot more magic in our lives.
How do you see yourself expanding into inspired unfolding? What magic is waiting for your attention and recognition? What does your paradigm segue look like? I hope you will share your experiences with me via my website or email or on Facebook at Caravan of Dreams MT. Our music is used by permission of the artist, Sean Phoenix. Thank you, Sean. And thank you to Bozeman Public Library for the Workbench Sound Studio located in beautiful downtown Bozeman, Montana. If you would like to learn more about allowing and how to find your unique style of manifesting, please visit my website, caravanofdreamsmt.com, or email me at dancingwitchmt@gmail.com. This is Ginny Watts, the Dancing Witch. Till next time, blessed be.